Hey, what's up guys, Jivan back with another sliding video. We're going to cover so much stuff in this video. If you have any questions related to sliding, it should be covered in this video. A lot of people have been debating whether or not sliding is actually useful. Sadly, sliding isn't as useful as we were hoping it to be, but it still has many uses. So without further ado, let's get into this video. On my last sliding video, a lot of people asked why they can't slide while building and why they can't slide while editing, stuff like that. So we're starting off in the settings. First thing, mentioned this in my last video, if you go to controller settings and change slide hold time to 0.1, it'll help your sliding. If you're a keyboard mouse player, make sure your crouch button is on a different finger than your movement, build, and edit buttons. I have it on my mouse button and I think this is really optimal. Additionally, you need to set it up for building and editing crouch buttons as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to crouch while building and editing. Now it's the same thing for controller. Make sure you have your crouch button somewhere easy to press and make sure you have it set up for your building and editing settings. I don't have it set up, but I'm not a controller player. Now let's start getting into some of the tricks. First, if you land off a glider into a slide, you slide so fast. That can be used in a lot of situations. If you start sliding, you need to press crouch again to cancel the slide. This is a good thing to do in the mid game to avoid getting headshot sniped and beamed. If you press your jump button while you're sliding, you'll jump instead. Instead of canceling the slide, it jumps you up. Both can be used in different situations, which we'll go over throughout this video. If you slide in a straight line, you're going to go the same speed as normal when running. But if you're going downhill, you speed up. So if you flip a ramp like this, it gives you a boost. This can boost your tunneling in endgame, boost you in build fights and box fights, help you make piece control plays, all sorts of stuff, so it's good to practice that. And it's the same thing if you start your slide as you're going down the slope of a cone. Same deal. One of the best ways to build comfort with sliding in fights is just to practice free building around and slide in your free builds. I've been practicing overusing sliding, and this is just giving me a lot more comfort with it. By the way, you can slide through a door just like I showed there. Overall, the main uses of sliding is to make your movement unpredictable. You can gain boosts when going down hills, even if it's just a single ramp, and then sliding through door plays are going to be crazy. So now we're checking out clips from Raiders Piece Control map, and you're going to see how I practice sliding and how it can actually be used in a fight. This stuff will take a long time to master, which is why I'm practicing it every day, but it's going to be so useful for making your playstyle unpredictable. As you've seen throughout this first piece control drill, sliding can be really useful for setting up unpredictable peaks, and you can also piece control while sliding. If you can get this down at a fast pace, imagine how hard it's going to be to actually hit you in a fight. It'll be so tough. The next drill is pretty similar. There's going to be some really unique ones that I show here, but these first two, you can practice piece controlling and setting up peaks while sliding, just like I'm doing here. I've done so much thinking about will sliding actually be useful in game, and obviously there's uses like I've shown throughout this video so far, but think about in a build fight. Right now it seems like sliding's not going to be alpha in build fights, but imagine how much harder it would be to actually hit a shot on you in a build fight if you're sliding instead of running. Like, when you spam crouch and it makes it hard to headshot snipe you? Imagine you're constantly sliding and canceling slides during a build fight. It'll be so much harder to hit side jump shots on you and all that stuff. That's one of the biggest ways I think sliding's going to impact fights in the near future, making you less predictable. By the way, for course 3, you can practice doing the sliding phase trick on the bot down below, but this course isn't as useful for sliding purposes. Course number 4, however, is actually really useful. I've used sliding in arena multiple times in a scenario just like this. You can practice slide edit coursing straight onto them, or the better way, sliding over the top and trying to claim that back wall. You saw a clip at the start of this video of me doing this exact trick. The main thing is when you're practicing sliding in this map, you need to make sure you're practicing it behind cover, making sure that when you're actually piece controlling the bot, you're doing it from behind a right-hand peak. Course number 5 is pretty similar to some of them we already did. You can practice the sliding peaks and sliding piece control. Course number 6 I don't find to be very useful for this either. But course number 7 is a fun one to play with. I've been practicing doing sliding after landing from a side jump, so this is a good way to practice doing that into a piece control play, just like I'm doing on screen here. Basically, you just have to press the slide button while you're mid-jump, and then it'll make you slide when you land. Course number 8 is the practice for the sliding phase trick. If you guys have been struggling with this phase trick, make sure that you're pressing forward when you're placing the ramp into the box. If you press backwards or the side button too quickly, it'll cancel the phase and it won't phase in. Course number 9 is one of my favorite ones to practice. The first way you can use this course is practice going for the back wall, sliding and grabbing it just like we did in an earlier drill. But I've been practicing sliding into peaks. Here's one way I've been practicing: sliding through a door and taking a peek from the outside. Imagine somebody does this to you. Let's say they edit the ramp and go down, you'll still have an angle through the door. Or you can take a peek through the door like I'm doing in these clips. This is really sneaky, but probably not the most practical. This next move, however, is a lot more useful. When you get them full pieced, slide as you make the edit out of the box and then jump into a peek from the outside. This is super fast and sneaky. Just make sure you're setting up pretty optimal peaks when you get out of the box. For those of you wondering, my warm-up routine is Kovacs and then the headshot only Turtle Wars map, and then I practice in here for about 15 minutes. Course number 10, by the way, is not that useful. On to 11. This one is similar to previous ones. You know, you slide into the piece control, you can slide into peaks. But one thing that I didn't mention before that you should be practicing is practice canceling the slide once you're in the peak location. Like, let's say you're setting up a window peak. Press the crouch button again to cancel your slide right before you're visible in the window peak. So for example, right here, I press the crouch button again, or you can just walk backwards, and this cancels the slide so I can take a peek. If you're sliding to the left, however, you can just jump into a peek, or you can cancel it and then jump. But that's a really important skill to get down: slide canceling. And just like in the last drill, you gotta practice slide canceling in this one as well. I'm telling you, if you're sliding into horizontal piece control, like you have to walk straight sideways to piece control the enemy, sliding can be really useful for this. Like in a situation like this, I've beaten people to those sidewalls and piece controlled them in situations where normally they would beat me, because you can hold your builds out at a tighter angle while sliding than you could if you were running straight sideways. This next drill is similar to one that we've seen before, where you slide over the top and claim that back wall. I do recommend running both the drills just because in this one, you can practice dragging the cone into the enemy's box when dropping down for that back wall. That's a good skill to build, and you should try to get the muscle memory of that down. By dragging that cone into their box when you're falling, you just gain that extra piece control, and they can't protect themselves with a ramp when you go to take a peek shot. This next drill is one of those where sliding isn't really going to do much for you, but if you practice sliding around the enemy's box to the other side and setting up a peek from over there, that can be good practice. That's going to be a really sneaky way to hit shots on the enemy when you get them full boxed. When people are sliding, it's hard to track their audio, and additionally, it makes you harder to hit when you're sliding. So practicing techniques like this can make you unpredictable and harder to hit. Now, last drill of the day is probably my favorite just because you can do whatever the heck you want. Here's a few of my favorite ways to practice in this last course. Last thing I want to talk about before ending this video is this is a skill that I don't think is going to be used by many people in tournaments for a while. I think this is one of those things that's going to be a skill you build up over a long period of time. So when I'm competing in tournaments, I'm not going to be doing like slide tunneling and all that stuff. I'm going to be focusing on doing the stuff that I'm best at, but I am going to keep working on this stuff in creative, practicing against my friends, and practicing in arena. Once I get super comfortable with it, that's when I'm going to try to start applying it to tournaments, and a lot of people do believe this could increase the skill cap of players and piece control and building, but it's a long ways away, so I just recommend adding this to your practice routine. It'll help improve your mechanics in general, so there's no harm in practicing it. I hope this video helped you guys out. If it did, be sure to hit that like button, sub if you're new, use code JivanTV, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.